All right, next hop on our virtual field trip extravaganza. We got Grand Canyon. We have the Antelope Slot Canyons over here in Page, Arizona, and then we went to Zion National Park. So, things to be aware of. So right now, if you go to Zion, which I wouldn't advise, um, the buses are shut down. So normally, the way it works is you park your car and then at like the visitor center, and then the bus takes you deep into the park, and then you get to see all the features. Um, it's really cool because Zion has been cut away from the river that flows through it, and the river itself kind of does flash floods, so it does like a whole bunch of like erosion all at once, and then there's nothing. It's also a really cool film if you go there, just talking about like the history of the area with the native people, and then how it started being used for farmland. So anyway, so that's Zion. I'll show you the map right there one more time. In terms of what else is around, you can see that if you take the 15, it would take you back to Las Vegas. Grand Canyon isn't very far away. Bryce Canyon, which I haven't been to, is up that direction. And if you continue up the 15, there's a whole bunch of other ones. Like we're going to do one about Canyonlands and Arches coming up here in a little bit too. So Antelope Slot Canyons, you've probably seen pictures of them. It's right on the border between Arizona and Utah. So we're going to be showing you pictures. It looks sort of like this. It's right by Horseshoe Bend as well. I'll show you some pictures of that. And then Grand Canyon is like a geologist's dream. I could probably sit here and talk about it for a long period of time, but I don't want to bore you too much. So, all right, let's start looking at some pictures. Boom. All right, they're going to kind of bounce around because when I put them in there, I don't know. It's just the way it got reshuffled. All right, I guess we're starting at Zion. Maybe. Magic circle. All right, do you remember when we took this video? Were you in a good mood or a bad mood at the time? Okay. Do you remember it being warm or cold? Yeah, we were supposed to camp and it was supposed to get down into like single digits, so we had to get a hotel. All right, this is a different trip by myself. You can see based on my hat. This is Horseshoe Bend. This is just outside of Page, Arizona. This is a picture you see a lot. Now, I can tell you there was like literally like hundreds of people there, but I was able to get the good shot because I was standing in a big cloud of mosquitoes. So if you see all these little dots, these are a bunch of mosquitoes. Nobody else wanted to stand there. You weren't there that time. All right, this is in the Slot Canyons. When you go there, you have to, it's not national park. So you got to pay the Navajo people to get in. And then we had a tour guide, which was really, really cool. This is Zion again. Sorry for bouncing around. That's why I put them together. Kenley's stacking rocks. This is right by the Narrows. The Narrows is like this slot, and the river cuts through it. And a lot of people wear waders and walk up into the canyon. We didn't do that. It was super cold. All right, going back to Page, Arizona, looking at the Antelope Slot Canyons. You remember what kind of rock this was? Sandstone. And you remember what all these little white parts are? You kept asking the Navajo guide.
They're like
Uh-huh. Yeah. And these are calcium deposits that are found in it that don't weather away. So, Junior Ranger. All right. Do you remember the sand? What did it feel like?
It sort of felt like rock.
Yeah. It was really, really fine and soft. Yeah. And this is Navajo sandstone, all the orange stuff, pinkish. And Amazon's back. All right, we'll be talking about the geology of the Grand Canyon here in a little bit. That's Kenley becoming a junior ranger. I think this was in Grand Canyon. It was cold. It was cold there too. Princess Poppy, that's enough. That's enough.
I love Amazon.
All right. So as you go down further into the Grand Canyon, it's going back in time. So where the water is cutting through currently, it's the oldest rock. It got uplifted a long time ago. Um, and it has a lot of geologic history with like volcanoes going off at certain times. Other times it was like sand dunes around there. It's pretty incredible. I got lots of pictures of rocks I'll be showing you in a little bit. So that's the entrance to the Grand Canyon. And now, hey, let's just jump back and go to Antelope again. We're all over the place. All right, that was the guide. He was very informative. Kenley was asking him lots of questions. What was your favorite question? Do you remember?
Uh, how does it get so smooth?
Yeah, a lot of this has to do with the water, the flash floods. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the winds. And the reason why I got the name Antelope Slot Canyons is they used to chase the antelope down there, and then they would have people that were sitting up on top, and they would hunt the antelope. Oh, we're gonna talk about the jars. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Do you remember what the jars were for? See, maybe we have some pictures of them.
It's like keep out.
Yeah, so they put special like herbs in there and plants, and then the scent is supposed to keep the snakes away. But we're in the middle of winter here, so we were perfectly safe. So this has to do with the water coming down, cutting through. That's climbing out, quite the climb out. All right, so this is by the Narrows. This is now back in Zion National Park. So you can see the rock is very different. There's still like Navajo sandstone in certain areas of it, but then there's other types of sandstone because it's in a different region. Oh, let's see what this one is. Remember this? I think this is you sliding down the rock. No, that's you climbing. Woo! Get- Oh yeah, that was
And
fun.
they're like, oh, you know, like climb down and jump down.
Yeah, this is the hike down to the Narrows. All right, so this is talking a little about the geologic layers of the area. So every one of these layers was laid down previous periods of time, depending on like what the environment was. So it's pretty neat when you get a chance to look up like up close, and you can actually see you're like, man, that was like hundreds of thousands of years ago. That was even further. And then there's these cracks, and there's a lot of faults and stuff that also go through Utah. Utah actually just had a big earthquake not that long ago, right by Salt Lake City. Don't really think of that area as being super um, earthquake territory, but it is. This is me. I ran up to the top of an area just outside of Zion. See the trail on the way in, so you can still see the red. And the red is from iron in the rock and in the soil. Getting kind of pumped. You can see the layers there. I don't know why it's not. Oh, all right. I got some more pictures over here. This is on a different trip to the Grand Canyon. So you can tell by my hat. Pumped. This is the first time I ever went. All right. All right. Let's see if I just. Oh no, is it not gonna let me zoom in? Oh no! We need to see some close-ups of the beautiful rock specimens. Yeah, the rocks. I think I can push hide on this. There it is. Boom. All right. So you can see that all the layers form at different times. There's limestone, which means that like at one point it was underwater. You can see shale, which is from mud that formed. Sandstone, obviously sand. So we got our sedimentary rocks here up on top. Then you got some igneous rocks, got things like granite and more sandstone, different types of sandstone at different time. Andesite, that's another igneous rock. Basalt. So a lot of geologic history found in the Grand Canyon. A little zoom in action over here. Boom. Yeah, a lot of rocks. Love the rocks. That was like when I first got there and I saw it. It's pretty spectacular. I don't remember this one. I think this might be the elk. Oh no. Yeah. It's still funny to me, and it's me. So there's a trail that goes along the rim, so you can see different angles, and it's amazing. It really is. And there's these things where you can like it zooms in on certain areas where you look through the little pipe and it like gives you a little geologic history of the area. That's me pretending like I'm being daring. I'm actually really not that close to the edge. Selfie sticking. Yeah,
Selfie stick.
I love the selfie stick. All
Selfie
these
stick.
layers are different times periods. So the top area is the youngest, and then you go down and it's the oldest. So when we went, it was super cold. It was like 18 degrees. It was ridiculous. But the visitor centers are definitely worth taking a look. It shows you a fault, and it also shows you the layers. You go back in geologic time. So there's all these pictures that may or may not be coming up of these different rocks. Okay, and from each layer. So some geologist went down and grabbed a specimen of rock. So, for example, the very top I think is like a type of is that I don't know, kind of sandstone. So 30,000 years ago. Then you go further back, there's basalt 90,000 years ago. Enjoying the view. Back in geologic history. Yeah, super real. So limestone, top A. All right, more sandstone. You can see it's got a different name to it. It's got a different color than the other sandstone we saw in Antelope Slot Canyons. So some pretty neat stuff as you get a chance to walk around. I would just say take your time. Conglomerate, that's a good one. It's another type of sedimentary rock. Limestone again, different type. See, that's why you can't get caught up with the colors. Like the colors are beautiful and everything, but they don't really tell the story of what kind of rock it is. Okay, there's another limestone. This one's white. There's another one that's kind of a pinkish. Okay, so at different times this was underwater, under the ocean. I guess that's all the pictures we're gonna have. Oh, no, there's some more. Conglomerate. So it's a bunch of other like mud and stuff that got squished together. Shale. Shale's a finer mud. Man, but how would you say this one, KK? Carbon? No, it's boot or butte sandstone. So anyway, pretty neat stuff. I think when we were there, we didn't have a chance to see all the rocks because it was so cold. Pretty neat.
You might be here for a few hours.
So now we're getting into igneous rocks. So remember the granite forms underground. It's intrusive. A lot of different types of granite found in the area. Grand Canyon is pretty big, being carved out by the Colorado River. Oh, schist, different types of schist. Nice, that's metamorphic. Talking about the erosion over time, the weathering and the erosion.
Yes.
Well, sort of. Like so now, this picture, I'm out of the Grand Canyon. This is called the Little Grand Canyon. Still pretty big. Our little Colorado River going through there. And I think that's about it. Quite the journey. Now I'm trying to figure out how to stop it.